The big project that we do at the EU is an education support project that is wider, sort of part of a wider UN support project for education. But it originally started with the EU once the Iraqi problem became a big emergency in 2007, in October 2007, and it was funded all the way through to 2012 to a sum of about 7 million euros. And it basically started with areas with large levels of Iraqi refugees, but subsequently that project has actually been extended out of into areas of northern Syria and much further than just Damascus. So it's a very great project. We rehabilitate schools, we supply new sort of desks and great new supplies that Unicef orchestrate the design of, and we hold open tenders and get lots of input, so it's really great.
So rehabilitation of schools, and then what about
rehabilitation of
activities?
schools and sort of supply to schools, so that includes desks and active learning furniture, and also we do a lot with teacher training. Involves a lot of teacher training, which is part of our sort of collaboration with the Ministry of Education. And obviously we couldn't work here without either the EU or the Ministry of Education. Because the Ministry of Education, it's their show, absolutely. We were there to help them with the Iraqi refugee problem, and now that has been extended so that we have a sort of a model of education called the child-friendly school, which involves a form of teaching, and it involves community participation. It involves, active learning supplies and all these sort of great things. And it really concentrates on the kid, on allowing the kid to be involved in the schools and allowing him to be part of his own education. And so, and that sort of school's model and network is now becoming a backbone across Syria, with the Ministry of Education's help. So originally the project with the EU started with schools with large levels of Iraqi refugees, but because of that the project has been extended well beyond those borders and is now in many other governorates as well, outside. Because originally a lot of the refugees came directly to Damascus, but this has actually been extended now.
So how many schools is it that you've rehabilitated or improved the learning environment?
Well, in the first course there were 140 that were rehabilitated. And then there was a subsequent 80 this round, and then there will be another batch as of in a couple of months' time.
And it's all across the country?
It started in Damascus, and now it's areas like northern Syria and the coastal areas too.
And there is an active participation of the government, the Syrian government?
Absolutely, yes.
They are on board with everything?
So the EU helps us to help the Ministry of Education.
So does this in any way inform the policy decisions, budget allocations of the central government or the Ministry of Education?
Well, I don't know we necessarily sort of affect their budget allocations, but we've definitely affected their
inform it in a way.
Definitely, we've definitely informed their ideas of education. We've held a huge amount of workshops. We've trained them to train a lot of their teachers in new techniques. A lot of their sort of staff even their janitors have been helped to sort of rehabilitate schools and this type of thing.
And you've adapted all the learning material to the Syrian culture?
Absolutely, and it's used sort of Syrian sort of talent from day one. So, it's been lots of ideas. I mean, Unicef have been working in education with kids for many years. So it's all of that sort of learning has been readapted and sort of shifted a little bit for the Syrian system.
And where do you think has been the major impact, and which dimension of your project activities do you think really you've made a change?
Well, absolutely, in sort of the atmosphere of schools. I mean, this has been the key thing. I mean, you go to a Unicef school that's helped by the EU with the Ministry of Education, definitely is a different atmosphere. The kids are allowed, there's less sort of strict formal education, the supplies are better, there's paintings, it's just a better atmosphere. So on the whole, you hope, and as far as we've seen in the interviews we've done, this has definitely led to sort of happier kids essentially, so in schools. And I think in general that if you can, improve the atmosphere and the environment for kids, then their learning experience as a whole improves. So one of the key things of the child-friendly schools model is to get the community very much involved. So in the latest round of rehabilitations, for example, we held round tables with staff, students, kids and community. So that's everyone from the community could come along and we would show them what was on offer. They basically sort of, sat around the table and voted almost democratically on, we want this. This is a really great idea. This is going to help the kids because of this. We want to rehabilitate the latrines. This is a much better thing. So absolutely the community had been drawn right into the heart of the project.
And do you think there are any challenges that you face that you think, I mean, the challenges that you probably are responding to and overcoming, but are there any of the major challenges?
Well, I mean, obviously, a key concern is getting the community very much involved in their own schools, because one of the major issues with any project like this is sustainability.
Yeah.
And we can't sustain a project without the community being involved. So they have to be involved from day one, because otherwise they don't feel in touch with their own schools, and they might not even take their kids to school. Sure. But if the kids come back, they're happier, they're getting better education, and the parents are being involved with how that school is rehabilitated, then sustainability extends way beyond, 2012, which is until where the project is actually funded now. So, yeah, it definitely is about getting the community involved, and that has been one of our greatest struggles, but one of our greatest sort of triumphs now as well. So,
what is the message that you would give to them that would inspire them to continue supporting?
Well, I think in answering, the best way to answer that question is the fact that Syria is gaining a huge amount of importance, sort of strategic geographically. It's on the outskirts of the European Union area. So it really is sort of crucial to the well-being of the Mediterranean as well, and the European Union. And because of that, you've got this whole new generation of young kids who are being, given a much, much better education on behalf of Unicef and the EU and the Ministry of Education. Purely from what began as an emergency response, it's grown into a whole sort of change of the education system. And that's definitely something that we would like to extend and keep going, because it's had a huge impact on the welfare of the kids. And this is we've been allowed to able to educate them in nutrition as well, and all these other sort of areas that are so important. So we've done very well. I think Syria unfortunately has suffered from very bad stereotypes in the past, and I think those are being broken down. And the influence of the EU and UNICEF working with them, working alongside the Ministry of Education, who might have been seen back in the day as a very hard organisation to crack, but they've been absolutely supportive of what we've done, and they've taken on a lot of sort of the real significant changes in teaching technique, and they've taken these on board. So yeah, it's broken down stereotypes, even on a day-to-day basis with us walking into schools, which has been a very rare thing in Syria, and interacting with children, and so it's definitely broken down stereotypes.
Thanks.